The secret to staying on a coach's radar. This is the Athletic Scholarship Podcast, episode number 118. Number 118, but also number 5. Hi, I'm John Fugler, an athletic scholarship coach, also a podcaster, an author, a speaker, and a dad of 2 scholarship athletes. And you caught us in the middle of a 7-day series called the Recruiting Funnel, how to go from prospect to scholarship, and this is day 5. Go ahead and listen to the first 4 episodes, and I think you get a lot out of them. They build on one another, but if you haven't listened to them yet, then I'll recap it for you here very quickly as to what we've done here, and then you can get caught up a little bit, but I do encourage you to go back and listen. The Athletic Scholarship Podcast is sponsored by the new Recruitng Athletic Scholarship System, just released a couple days ago. This multimedia resource is what I believe the best out there to take you step by step through the scholarship, the recruiting process. I got audio, video, digital, and it's a complete package for you. Go ahead and check it out at recruitme.com/system. So where we started on day 1 is about the recruiting funnel, and there is a funnel. You may not have known there is a funnel that you need to get into if you expect to get recruited. There's something going on out there. You may feel like an outsider. And how do I become an insider and get recruited by college coaches? It's a funnel. It'll take you from, as you think of a funnel, take you from the wide opening all the way down and through and out as a recruited athlete with an athletic scholarship. So we want to walk you through that funnel as we take these 7 days together. So that's it. You got a funnel. First day, we talked about jumping into the funnel. In other words, how to get on the radar. And as we said, the most important thing is that you need to take the initiative to promote yourself. It's a mindset, a foundational mindset for all of this. If you don't have that mindset, you're going to find it really tough to get recruited. It's so competitive out there. Jump into the funnel by having this mindset that you have to promote yourself. You need to send out an intro packet. Talked about that, which is an introductory email and resume or player profile. This packet is so important to make that first impression, a good impression on college coaches. So we covered that on day 1. On day 2, we talked about becoming a bigger blip on the radar. Moving into the next phase of this funnel and becoming a bigger blip on the radar so you stand out among all the other athletes that these coaches are recruiting. You're vying for a position, you're vying for dollars, you're vying for that athletic scholarship. And how can you become a bigger blip on the radar so the coach takes notice of you? In that episode, talked about the questionnaire. This online questionnaire that coaches have you complete. Well, we've got an alternative to that. I share that with you in day number 2. So you can become a bigger blip and you just don't blend in. It has to do with the questionnaire, but not their questionnaire. You produce one, and I go into more detail on that on day 2. On day 3, talked about having your own radar. And what do I mean by that? Coaches have you on their radar. You need to have schools and coaches on your radar. You can't be passive. I mentioned that earlier. You've got to have a way to detect and see which coaches are interested in you, at what level, how it's progressing. And when you get several coaches that you're in conversation with, it gets confusing. It really does. I mean, this isn't the only thing you're doing. You're living life as well as a family. So you've got to have a system you have to have a radar system in order to track all this communication that's going on. So I share with you about a system that I use that it's very simple in order for you to track every bit of communication between you and coaches. And then yesterday on day 4, I talked about using 3D radar, as I call it. You move further into the funnel, and the further you move into the funnel, the smaller it gets and the fewer the athletes that are there, but it gets more competitive. Some have dropped out, but the ones that are there, man, they're probably better than the ones that dropped out, and so it gets really competitive. So the 3D radar is video. Everybody's asking about video. How do I use video? How do I shoot a video? How do I edit it? What's the best place to post it? How can I get it in front of coaches? When do I put it in front of coaches? I go through that, and I did yesterday on day 4. So here we are on day 5. And day 5 is the secret to staying on the radar of coaches. You're talking about a long-term process here. For some of you, you may be freshmen this year or sophomores, and you've got some years ahead in this recruiting process. That's why I say it's a marathon. How can you stay on coaches' radar during this whole process? I've got an email from one of the folks that I've been working with for the last few months. They've had the Recruitng system, and his daughter is a freshman and very talented in a couple or 3 sports. He told me that they sent the introductory packet to the coaches, and while the coaches sent standard information that they can send back, they said, we're not allowed to contact you, and we're not allowed to start recruiting you. However, what's being said there, because they gave her their phone number, is I am interested, and they encouraged her to call whenever she wanted to. You can contact the coaches anytime. There are limits on how they can contact you. So even though you may be in your freshman or sophomore year and coaches aren't officially contacting you, they are tracking you. And you want to keep the communication going. You want to initiate the communication with them. It is a marathon, but don't think because you're in that time period, you're in the year where the coaches can't do any official recruiting. They can invite you to camps and showcases and that type of thing, but they can't do some other things. They can't give you a phone call. They can't shoot an email off to you when you're that young. But here's what you need to do to stay on their radar over a period of years. Not just track the communication, but send regular updates. You need to show up in their inbox. After every season that you can send stats, after every test that you take, ACT, SAT, that type of test, not your math test, accomplishments, wrap-ups of a season schedule of seasons coming up. Maybe you got a summer season that you're going to have that you can that you're competing in. If you're going to a tournament or a showcase in their area, send that out. Anything that you can do that's worth them noting, you need to send them information on that. You need to give them updates about how you're doing so you can express your interest. And what is this update? It's just one page. It might not even be a full page. Just like everything else that you send, it needs to be easy to read for coaches whose time is limited. They scan. You got to understand that. They scan. And then they'll read more closely if they like what they see. Other than your questionnaire, which we already talked about, all the other documents that you send are simple. Your email that you're sending out, your player profile, and your updates. You can send it as a PDF or a Word document, and right at the top in a box in bold red lettering, you say, please add this information to my file. Capital letters, bold, please add this information to my file. And then underneath, you give them the update, whatever it might be. When you say, please add this to my file, it reminds the coach that you have a relationship with him and he should be following you. It's a nice touch to let him or her know you're on their radar already. This isn't a new contact. It's not a new inquiry. Your name should be at the top with a big headline below it, such as summer season highlights, fall season highlights, SAT scores just came in, something like that. And then you list the items you want the coach to see using bullet points. You don't have to have it in a chart or a form, that type of thing. So you'll have anywhere from 5 to 10 things on the list, perhaps. If it's just SAT scores, just one thing. So use those bullet points for the list so it's easy to read at a glance. That's the biggest way that you can stay on the radar of college coaches. If they haven't contacted you in a while, don't get all uptight about that. Continue to pursue them and put that communication out to them. If you're later on in your high school career and they're not contacting you, then maybe they have lost interest. It's always good to make a phone call That's how you stay on the coach's radar, just like these coaches have invited this freshman I mentioned earlier to make a phone call. When you do that, man, you are staying on their radar. Continue to take the initiative. This isn't a one and done. Hey, I've contacted the coaches. Now it's all up to them. No, you have to continue to put yourself out. I want to mention a couple other things that will help as well to stay on the coach's radar. But this update is extremely, extremely important, and it'll help you out. We launched the Recruitng system a couple days ago. It's me. I did it. And for 2 years, I'd been developing this better solution for parents and athletes. As you might know, the Recruitng system has been out since 2002. Thousands of families have been using this. It's step by step, and it really works for families that put the heart into it and put their time to get their athletes scholarships. But in recent years, the last couple of years, I've been thinking, there is something missing here. And I got some of that from you families that said that you're looking for a way to go through the recruiting process for with as little pain and as expense as possible, but it still achieved great results. And I sensed from you that the Recruitng system as it stood was getting a little bit outdated. And you wanted something more live, something more interactive. That's the way it is today. A step above a manual and a workbook, which is at the core of the Recruitng system. So I heard what you said, and 2 days ago, after a couple years, the brand new Recruitng athletic scholarship system came out. And in this system, I built in video, new audios, and fantastic digital resources that walk you step by step from A to Z in the recruiting process. It's the Recruitng system in 3D, I guess. And if you want the quickest road to recruiting, this is it. I mean, if you want to just make sure you're doing the right thing, if you want to get on coach's radar fast in the next 30 days, this is it. We talk about this whole series on getting on coach's radar and staying there. If you want to be shown how to do the recruiting process rather than just read about it, this is it. The videos are a great help in this process. So if you want to know exactly what to do every step of the way, it's all in the new Recruitng athletic scholarship system. If you want to get an athletic scholarship, I truly believe this is the system that will take you from wherever you are at right now to that athletic scholarship. I've seen it happen over and over again with families. It's a great joy for me to be involved in families' lives. It's available for you as soon as you purchase it, immediately accessible, and you can start using the resources, downloading the resources, watching the videos. It's set up logically in 5 or 6 modules. The first 5 modules are what you want to go through in the process. So it's very organized, step by step. And then the 6th one are additional resources that I add as they come out for everybody who has the Recruitng system. And it's inexpensive. If you've done a little bit of homework, you know that the recruiting services and consultants can charge anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 to be able to use their services. And what it comes down to is that you end up doing a lot of the work yourself anyway. So why not help yourself to an athletic scholarship? That's what I say. That's kind of my theme with Recruitng. And that's what I want to do for you so that you're not paying a ton of money. The Recruitng system is complete, not for $5,000, $1,000, not even $500. It's under $100. It's $97. That's all it is. One payment, you own it. It's for life. As I add new resources to it, you get those too. You get all that update. Go to recruitme.com/system to get the new Recruitng system. recruit-me.com/system. I'll have a link in the show notes as well. And I just want to really make sure that you use it and you're heading in the right direction. So as a bonus, a free bonus, for those who buy by November 10th, you get a comprehensive review of your introductory packet. That's the email, the intro email that you write, as well as your player profile. Before you send anything to coaches, I want to see it, and I will give you a review of that. I'll shoot back an email to you with my critique. If we need to talk by Skype or phone, we'll do that too. I want to make sure it's right when it goes and is put in the hands of college coaches. So that's free, and that's only for those who purchase by November 10th. So that's coming up. Recruitme.com/system. All right. Probably went too long on that. I want to talk about a couple other ways that you can stay on the radar for coaches. One is camps. I get a lot of questions about camps. Now, camps can be expensive. You can spend a lot of money, especially if you're traveling, if you have overnights. You can rack up some huge bills. And remember, my objective is to have you spend as little money as possible in the recruiting process and still get great results. Go to camps that are key for your purposes. In other words, are coaches on your list at those camps? Are the schools that are hosting them on your list? Maybe pick 2 or 3 that you can go through. Maybe you'll go to camps or combines where there are multiple coaches on your list that are at those camps or combines. Those are excellent if you can find those. You're going to get a lot of invitations to camps. Coaches love to have kids there at camps. Some of them aren't recruiting camps. You need to make sure it's a recruiting camp. But that's a way you can stay on the radar of those schools you're already in conversation with. Camps are great. And then there's showcases. A lot of sports have showcases or tournaments where there are a lot of college coaches there. That's how our sons were first spotted at a showcase. That was the first time, and then they were followed through with by that coach, and they ended up going, both of them, to that school. It was the Air Force Academy, and they were spotted at a showcase. They had other things going with other coaches, but it was at that showcase that coach, that's where the relationship actually began. If you go to showcases, that might be the start of a relationship. So showcases and tournaments are like that. Boy, this has been a long episode, but I really enjoy this, and I wanted to get into more detail on some of these things, and I hope that this has been helpful for you in the recruiting funnel, how you can stay on the radar. I want to close with one golden nugget, as I do in every episode, and this is it. Be your best self. What do I mean by that? Well, first, be genuine. Secondly, bring your best game. You are pursuing something that is highly sought after, and that is an athletic scholarship. And you need to be your best self. Don't get derailed with bad behavior, bad attitude. You want to bring your best self to the game, just like you bring your best self into competition. You want to be the best person you can be, because you don't want to mess it up just by, as I said, going off the rails. You're being watched. You're being looked at. You're involved in something here in this funnel that is competitive, and coaches are comparing you to others. So that's what I say. Be your best self behaviorally, academically, and athletically. Be your best self. And that's your nugget for today. Tomorrow, we're going to, on day 6 out of 7, making your school choice. You may not be there yet, but I really love it when you prepare. And I encourage athletes and families to prepare. This will prepare you, and I've got a story that will help you. That's pretty cool, about one family that went through the process and how, that's just a teaser. I'm going to leave it there. I'll tell you the whole story tomorrow. Thank you. God bless you, and we'll talk to you again.